How you guys doing today? It's Anthony Ganji. Welcome to another episode of Tier Talk. Guys, today we're going to discuss the timeline of custody for this young girl here, Jacqueline Mimi, as they called her, Torres-Garcia. Now, if you really want to know the specifics of what happened, I've done a few videos on that. So go back and check out those videos because those videos cover more specifics. This is just more about the custodial timeline, and then maybe towards the end, we may briefly discuss what happened to her. But really, the focus right now is on this custodial timeline because there seems to be a lot of confusion. So in the early years, so this is going to be from 2013 to 2022. So on January 29, 2013, there was a birth behind bars. When Jacqueline Torres Garcia entered the world on January 29, 2013, her mother, Carla Garcia, couldn't hold her. Reason why is Carla was incarcerated at the time of Mimi's birth. So this was DCF's first involvement. They received an initial report immediately about this birth. I believe Carla was about 16 at the time, and I don't know how old Mimi's father would have been. That's Victor Torres. He's the father. I don't know how old he would have been. I don't know if he, at the time, was in the criminal justice system, but he was not given custody either. Custody went over to the paternal grandparents, which is Victor Torres's mother and father, specifically Patricia Delgado. So within days, Jacqueline, soon called Mimi, was removed from Carla's custody and placed with her paternal grandmother, and that would be Patricia Delgado. I think, I have a picture of her. Hold on one second. There's Patricia Delgado with her right now. There's the picture. It's the picture on the thumbnail, actually. All right, so Victor Torres, Mimi's father, did not receive custody. The reason, I don't have the reason right now, so that remains unclear in public record. But then for the next 9 years, Patricia was Mimi's only stable parent figure. I think Mimi and her grandmother, Patricia, on the father's side, developed a very good and strong relationship. I truly believe that, and I think that caused jealousy within this group. She was like an outsider. I don't know if they're having trouble with the other sibling, but I think that was a point of conflict. That she spent her first 9 years with Patricia Delgado, and I think that there could be a chance that maybe she wanted to go back to her or something. But either way, I think there was some jealousy here. I honestly do. And also, I think because Mimi loved her grandmother so much from the paternal side that Carla, Jonathan, Anita, and even the sister here, Jacqueline, just couldn't deal with that. And they just had no care for her. I think that relationship she had with her grandmother may be part of this. And I'll explain that in a little bit too. But I think you guys see where I'm coming from. The first 9 years of her life was with her paternal grandmother, Patricia. So there was 9 years of stability. So from 2013 to 2022, Jacqueline lived with Patricia for most of her life. Both parents remained peripheral. Carla and Victor had at least one more child during these years who was also raised by Patricia. That's what I'm seeing. If you guys know more, let me know. By 2020 to 2021, Carla was in a new relationship with Jonathan and Anita. That's the guy on the bottom. And by May of 2022, they had a child together. So family members later alleged Anita was abusive towards Carla. So that's another thing. And that's another thing. If you want to look at it from Nanita, if Nanita was the one that was totally in control and getting Carla to do these awful things, then maybe it was because of still having jealousy over Victor Torres and Mimi being the daughter of Victor Torres. But I still think there was some jealousy with Patricia Delgado, and that is still on the paternal side. So the fatal decision. So on May 2022, custody was restored. So in May of 2022, Carla Garcia and Victor Torres jointly petitioned to regain guardianship of Mimi and her sibling. The Superior Court for Juvenile Matters granted reinstatement with support from DCF. the prior guardian, and the child's attorney. It's unique that Victor Torres was going for custody at that time as well. So I don't know what type of relationship he had with his mother. That would be interesting. But it looks like both Carla and Victor were trying to get custody of Mimi. So Patricia Delgado was devastated. DCF took her away from me. The grandmother no longer had any rights to take or even see the child. I mean, that's, to me, if that was something that was done by DCF, that's insane. I mean, this young girl was raised by that grandmother for 9 years, and to kind of eliminate all those rights right off the bat because you're just more worried about the connection to her mother, who by definition really wasn't a mother, obviously. That's the greatest concern. I know that they always talk about family reunification, but sometimes, and hopefully they know this, it's more than just the label of a mother. It's what a mother does. A mother cares for the child, just like Patricia was doing. So she lost all her rights immediately. And I think, again, could be some level of jealousy there because they didn't want Patricia Delgado involved at all. She had to fight to see or to try to see her daughter, her granddaughter. At 9 years old, Mimi was transferred to Carla's household, one that included Nanita. Court records show that in May of 2022, Nanita was already under support order. That's what I saw. You tell me if I'm right or not. I saw $106 per week in child support for his eldest daughter, plus $21 weekly towards $4,346 in arrears. I guess that's a total budget for the child support, what he owed. Despite that order, he was thousands behind. And by September of 2025, those arrears had ballooned to over $26,000. This meant Mimi was placed into the custody of a mother with a history of instability and a man who was already failing in his obligations to another child. So September 2022, we have some red flags. By September of 2022, DCF investigated allegations regarding Mimi's sibling. Mimi was last seen by DCF then. They found insufficient evidence and closed the case in November of 2022. At that point, she was still attending school and medical appointments into November of 2022. On the surface, everything looked normal. Part 3, now you have the custody war. So July of 2023, a father fights back. So Victor Torres filed for joint custody and weekend visitation in July of 2023, writing, "I want to see my children weekend like agreed, or any day for that matter." And then in August 2023, Carla counterstrikes. Carla filed a contempt motion accusing Victor of allowing his mother, Patricia, to provide overnight care during visits, arguing this violated this arrangement. I have a feeling Carla just did not want Mimi with Patricia Delgado, which would have been Victor Torres's mother. So now on August of 2023, that's where the hearing that never happened. So a hearing was scheduled, but neither parent appeared. This case was dismissed and no visitation modifications were ordered, leaving Victor's access unresolved and oversight fading further. So he didn't show up. Then you got part 4. This is the final year. So on January 29, 2024, I believe that's her last birthday, where Mimi turned 11. Victor later said he had not seen or spoken to her since before this birthday. So I don't know if he made a deal with Carla in August of 2023, but if you look at that, Victor later said he had not seen or spoken to her since before this birthday. April 2024, Carla moves for sole custody. Carla files for sole custody in April. I see around April 2024. And then in June of 2024, total control. The court granted Carla sole custody of Mimi and her sibling in June of 2024, with Victor listed as non-appearing. So from that point, Carla had complete legal authority. So again, he never even appeared. He fought for custody and then never even showed up. Makes you think if he really wanted her. But again, I don't know what happened behind the scenes there. Then the summer of 2024, House of Horrors. By summer 2024, Carla's sister, Jacqueline, Garcia, a convicted child abuser, was living on and off in the home. She had previously brought her 11-month-old child to a hospital in 2022 with multiple fractures and injuries, later pleading guilty to risk of injury. Jacqueline told police she saw Mimi confined in a corner, zip-tied, deprived of food, and lying on pee pads. She even texted photos of Mimi restrained. She admitted she knew Mimi was going to die when she left in mid-August of 2024. This girl, Mimi, never really had a chance. And guys, I kind of explained this a bit more specific in the other show, but this is just to try to provide a timeline, and then we could fill in the gaps of what wasn't covered in the last couple of shows. August 26, 2024, homeschool disguise. On what should have been Mimi's first day of sixth grade, Carla filed homeschool withdrawal forms with New Britain schools. No verification was required. From then on, Mimi vanished from oversight. And September 19, 2024 is the time of death. So Carla admitted she and Anita stopped feeding Mimi for 2 weeks and zip-tied her when she acted bad. Police believe she died on September 19, 2024. They said they have a few escape attempts from Mimi. I didn't say runaway, I said escape. And they caught her, and then they zip-tied her and punished her. Then you got the concealment. So fall of 2024, body hidden in basement. After Mimi's death, Anita stored her body in the Farmington basement. The stench forced them to stay with friends or hotels. And I explained this all more in detail in the other videos. January 2025, DCF fooled. In January 2025, DCF opened a new case about Mimi's sibling. Carla produced another child on a video call to impersonate Mimi, and then investigators accepted the deception, never verified in person, and later closed the case. March of 2025, the body was moved. Carla later told police they moved the body in March 2025, placing it in a tote and transporting it to New Britain. And then October of 2025, justice arrives too late. On October 8, 2025, police discovered Mimi's remains in a plastic bin behind a boarded-up house in New Britain. And then October 13th and the 14th, 2025, Carla Garcia, Jonathan Anita, and Jacqueline Garcia were arrested and charged with murder, risk of injury, conspiracy. We break all that down in the other videos. Victor Torres currently is living out of state, told media he had been shut out and had not seen Mimi in over a year. So I did this in the other video, more complete, but just real quick. Mimi's death was a product of both cruelty and a systemic breakdown. DCF removed her at birth, but did not place her with her father. She thrived with her grandmother 9 years, then was forced back into unsafe custody. Red flags in 2022 were dismissed as insufficient evidence. Custody hearings in 2023 to 2024 were dismissed or unchallenged, granting Carla sole custody. Homeschool loopholes let her disappear without verification, and a DCF video call in 2025 was accepted despite obvious risk. At every checkpoint, the system failed. Mimi spent 9 years safe with her grandmother. She spent 3 months in her mother's sole custody, and that was all it took. So, again, it's somewhat of a created timeline. I'm sure as we get further along, there's going to be more things to fill in those gaps, but I just wanted to put something out there for you guys. I love your thoughts. And guys, if you do enjoy the content, I do have buy me a coffee, whatever it is, it's in my description. And as always, guys, please stay safe out there.